Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 11th of March 2024. In today's newspaper analysis, we are going to cover the most important editorial articles from the newspaper. Apart from this, we are also going to locate a mapping related topic in today's newspaper, and then we are going to discuss some important topics that are important for the prelims exam. So let us start the discussion. So today we are going to discuss about, let's say, Chakrashila Wildlife Sanctuary. So this wildlife sanctuary has been mentioned in today's newspaper. Along with this, there are other wildlife sanctuaries also that they have mentioned. So we are going to look into their locations. We will understand the significance of these wildlife sanctuaries, and we will understand, let's say, which species are covered in these wildlife sanctuaries. Okay. So these are the list of articles that we are going to cover in today's newspaper analysis. So today in all we are going to cover about 8 articles from the newspaper itself. Okay. So the first topic is Chakrashila Wildlife Sanctuary. Okay, Chakrashila Wildlife Sanctuary. So where is this Chakrashila Wildlife Sanctuary located? It is located in the state of Assam in northeast India. Okay, so in northeast India, the central portion of the northeast India. So this is the northeast India over here. The central portion of northeast India is the state of Assam. And so inside the state of Assam, we have this Chakrashila Wildlife Sanctuary. So this is the map, and this is the enlarged map of Chakrashila Wildlife Sanctuary. So this Chakrashila Wildlife Sanctuary is located somewhere very near to Kokrajhar district, okay, in the state of Assam. So this Chakrashila Wildlife Sanctuary is very important because here we find the golden langurs. Okay, so like Asiatic golden langur or golden langurs are mentioned in news because recently they have conducted a census. They have conducted a population count of the golden langurs in India, and most of the golden langurs are located in the state of Assam across various wildlife sanctuaries. And here in this article they have also mentioned about Manas Biosphere Reserve. Okay, so we are going to discuss that where it is located, okay, when the article comes. So you need to remember this is a part of places in news. So Chakrashila Wildlife Sanctuary is located in the state of Assam. This is what you need to remember. All right. So with this, let us quickly look into the first article. Okay, so we are going to discuss this particular article. The headline of this article or topic of this article talks about a question. So it asks a question that what are the factors pushing Bitcoin to a new all-time high? All right. So here in this article we are going to discuss about Bitcoins. We will learn what are Bitcoins, when were Bitcoins, let's say, released for the first time, who has developed Bitcoins, and we are going to discuss about what is the significance of Bitcoin, and we are going to discuss how Bitcoins are being traded right across the world. We will discuss about what are Bitcoins also. So this particular topic is going to be topic number 1. All right, this is topic number 1 for us today. So here we are going to discuss about what? Bitcoins. And we are going to discuss why Bitcoins are trading at all-time high. Alright. So to understand this particular topic, let us first understand what do we mean by Bitcoin. Right? What do we mean by Bitcoin? So when we talk about Bitcoin, so Bitcoin is a specific type. It is a type of cryptocurrency. What is this? This is known as cryptocurrency. So what is a cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a digital currency, is a virtual form of currency. Alright, this is a digital currency, it is virtual form of currency. And when we talk about Bitcoin, Bitcoin is the world's first cryptocurrency. What? This is the world's first cryptocurrency. This is a very important information for the prelims exam. Okay, this is the world's first cryptocurrency. So when we talk about who has developed Bitcoin, in which year it was developed, so basically this, let's say it was developed as a open source project. It was developed as an open source project during the time period 2008 to 2009. Okay, in 2008, basically there was a person, his name is Satoshi Nakamoto. So Satoshi Nakamoto came up with a white paper. So in that white paper, he has laid down, let's say he has laid down a new concept that we are going to build cryptocurrencies, and these cryptocurrencies will be based on trustless system, in the sense that we do not need any central authority, right, to facilitate the transaction. So as of now, all the people like me, you, all of us have bank accounts, right? Whatever transactions that we are doing, if we are sending money to someone, if we are receiving money from someone, so it is happening through the banking channel. And banks are regulated by the Reserve Bank of India in India. And Reserve Bank of India plays the central role. It is the regulator of the banks in India. Similarly, in other countries, there are central banks. For example, if you talk about the United States of America, they have Federal Reserves in the United States of America. And Federal Reserve is the regulator of the banking channel. So generally what happens across different jurisdictions in different countries, right? There are central banks that regulate the banking sector, right? So the thing is there is a central authority that regulates, that monitors. But when we talk about Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency in the world that was announced by a person, okay? That was announced by a person. His name is what? His name is Satoshi Nakamoto, okay? His name is Satoshi Nakamoto. And this particular Bitcoin, right, it was based on a trustless system. Means they do not need any central authority for transactions to happen, because this Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, let's say all the transactions that happen through this channel, right, through this channel, these transactions are validated by people, and these people are known as what? These people are known as miners, okay? These people are known as miners. What is the role of the miners? They actually authenticate the transactions, or I can say they validate and authenticate the transactions that happen on the, let's say Bitcoin platform, on the cryptocurrency platform. Miners are people, okay? Miners are people. And for validating any transaction, right, for validating any transaction, they are given reward. What? They are given reward for validating and authenticating the transaction. And this reward is given in the form of Bitcoin itself, okay? It is given in the form of Bitcoin itself. Apart from this, if we talk about Bitcoins or cryptocurrencies, it does have some other features as well. So as we know that all the currencies in the world, currencies are a scarce resource. What? Currencies and let's say like gold, silver, right? So they are a scarce resource, means they are available in limited quantities. Since they are available in limited quantities, so generally what happens, their prices actually goes up, right? Their prices goes up because they are available in limited quantities. Similarly, if we talk about Bitcoin, it is also a scarce resource. What? It is a scarce resource. Why it is a scarce resource? You may have the question that why it is a scarce resource, since it is digital, let's say digital currency, it is in digital format. Why it is a scarce resource? Any number of Bitcoin can be issued. But the thing is when Bitcoin was initially announced through the white paper by Satoshi Nakamoto, that time he has mentioned that in all there will be only 21 million Bitcoins. How many? Only 21 million Bitcoins. There will not be more Bitcoins than 21 million, okay? So in all, there will be only 21 million Bitcoins. So since 2008 and 9, many people have purchased Bitcoin, they have purchased cryptocurrency, and they started doing transactions. And now here people do speculative trading. What kind of trading people do? People do speculative, let's say, trading on Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. What do you mean by speculative trading? It simply means, for example, if you have purchased 2 Bitcoins, let's consider you have purchased 2 Bitcoins. You might have purchased the Bitcoin at a time when the price of the Bitcoin was low in the market, okay? When the price of the Bitcoin was low in the market. But you may wish to sell these bitcoins at a time when the price of the bitcoin goes up in the market, goes high in the market. It means speculative trading. You're purchasing at low value, you're selling at higher value, so that like you can generate profit, you can let's say generate money out of it. So this is known as speculative trading. So most of the people are involved in speculative trading. So the thing is, like, if I talk about so far from 2009 till today, how many bitcoins have been issued so far? So around, let's say, like, around 19 million bitcoins have already been, right? 19 million bitcoins have already been mined, have already been issued, right? And so these people who are miners, they authenticate, they validate the transaction, and for this they have to do mathematical operations, they have to do mathematical calculations to validate the transaction. And so this mathematical calculation that is associated with the miners, so here I'm going to talk about this thing, just a minute. So here if I talk about the miners, okay, miners are the people who validate the, right, who validate the authentication. So these miners, what they do to validate or authenticate the transaction, number one, they perform mathematical operations, okay, they perform mathematical calculations or operations, right? And the complexity of the calculation or operation keeps on increasing, right, as more number of bitcoins are issued. So like initially when bitcoins were issued, the complexity related to mining activity were low, but slowly and gradually the complexity has increased, right? Complexity has increased. So miners, I mean, like, the mining activity is also associated with, let's say, carbon footprint. Why carbon footprint? Because like they use huge amount of electricity, so it does have a very high amount of carbon footprint as well, right? But what has happened, when bitcoins were initially launched, that time the value of bitcoins was very low, but now slowly and gradually the value of bitcoin has gone really high, it has skyrocketed. And in this article they have mentioned that the current price of bitcoin, right, fluctuates between, right, recently what has happened, the current price of bitcoin has fluctuated between $69,170.63, okay. So when we talk about value of one bitcoin, I'm just writing BTC, BTC means Bitcoin. So value of Bitcoin has recently ranged from 69,000, okay, 69,170.63, $170.63 to, I mean, like, it was the highest value, and it has gone also to low, as low as, let's say, like, 68,000 this thing. So here what they have mentioned is that the value of Bitcoin within an hour, okay, has within a day basically has gone as low as 59,000 okay, $323.91, okay. So the thing is, now the current price of Bitcoin fluctuates between this, so it can go very low, it can go very high. Initially when bitcoins were launched, one bitcoin was roughly equivalent to $1, but now you see one bitcoin $69,170, means the value is exceptionally high, okay. So that's why many people are involved in doing the trading, and these miners get reward in terms of Bitcoin, a percentage of Bitcoin. So now since the mining complexity is increasing, so will the miners be getting so much high value? I mean, like, let's consider for doing one transaction a miner is given, let's consider, like, 6 Bitcoin approximately, let's say, like, so what happens, the number of Bitcoins that will be issued to the miners will be exceptionally high. So that's why what they have decided, I mean, like, this platform has decided for going for Bitcoin halving, okay, or Bitcoin halving. So this is known as Bitcoin halving or Bitcoin halving, means, like, reducing the reward that is given to the miners to half. Let's consider earlier, for doing one computation, for mining one Bitcoin, a person was given some fraction of it, let's say 1/10 of this. But now after Bitcoin halving, what will happen? That person will be given half of the reward that was initially given. And Bitcoin halving is done, let's say, once every 4 years. Once every what? 4 years it is done. Okay, once every 4 years it is done. And the value of Bitcoin has fluctuated, let's say so far. I mean, it has gone really low, it has gone really up, and this is the maximum value that a Bitcoin has fetched recently. Okay, so that's why they have mentioned that value of Bitcoin has skyrocketed. Okay, what are the factors? Let's say, what are the factors for the fluctuation of the value of the Bitcoin? So we are going to discuss about the factors also. Okay, let me quickly discuss about the factors also that were responsible for fluctuation of the value of Bitcoins. Okay, factors. So what were the factors? Number one factor was that now when we talk about Russia-Ukraine war, okay, Russia-Ukraine war, when this Russia-Ukraine war started 2 years back, right, 2 years back, we are in 2024, but in 2022 around Russia-Ukraine war started. So that time the value of Bitcoin has gone low, right? But now if we talk about, so this war has stagnated, right? So that's why value of Bitcoin, okay, so value of BTC, Bitcoin, has gone up. And not only this, during COVID time also the value of Bitcoin has fluctuated so much. Okay, so these were some of the factors. Apart from this, let's say there is a regulatory agency, right? There is a regulatory agency that has given, this is known as US Securities and Exchange Commission, right? So it has taken a strong legal action against crypto companies, but it has approved the first spot exchange traded fund for Bitcoin. Okay, so there is an agency, I'm going to write down the name of the agency. It is known as US Security and Exchange Commission, okay, and Exchange Commission, in short SEC, right? US Security and Exchange Commission. What they have done, they have recently approved, okay, they have recently approved a very important thing, which is, let's say, exchange traded fund for Bitcoin. Okay, so they have approved spot exchange traded fund. Okay, in short it is known as ETF for Bitcoins. We will discuss about ETF at a later discussion during economy section, but these are some of the factors that has led to, let's say, more speculation from the investors. So people are now purchasing more Bitcoins. When there are more buyers, what happens? The price of the commodity, scarce commodity, goes up. So this is, Bitcoin is a scarce commodity, its price has gone up. So this is the thing, this is the article. And if we talk about Satoshi Nakamoto, the person who invented the Bitcoin, the person who, let's say, started the open source project way back in 2008 that led to the development of Bitcoin in 2009. That name was a pseudonym. I mean, it is not the real name of a person. Nobody knows who is Satoshi Nakamoto. Still nobody knows. I mean, so as of now, if we talk about Bitcoin, what is the overall value of Bitcoin so far? It has crossed $1 trillion. Okay, if we talk about overall value of Bitcoin market or Bitcoins, right, it has crossed, it is greater than $1 trillion US. Okay, $1 trillion US. This is the thing. Apart from this, there is another platform that they have mentioned in this article. What is that platform? That platform is known as Ethereum. Okay, so there is another platform which is known as Ethereum. So when we talk about Bitcoin, so Bitcoin is operated, let's say, it was initially started by pseudonym, so it is operating that way as of now. But there is another platform, Ethereum. So it is, okay, Ethereum. So it is also a kind of cryptocurrency. Ethereum is also kind of cryptocurrency. But this cryptocurrency has value much lower as compared to the Bitcoin. Okay, so Ethereum has a very less market cap. Okay, so in this article they have mentioned what is the market cap of Ethereum. So it has a threshold, like one Ethereum was equivalent to $3,900. Okay, one Ethereum value was roughly $3,900, right, US dollars. But when we talk about Bitcoin, it was $69,000, very high amount. Okay, so Ethereum, they have a cryptocurrency which is known as Ether. Okay, so its cryptocurrency, Ethereum is a platform, right? It is a platform, and they have a cryptocurrency, and name of the cryptocurrency is known as Ether. Okay, it is known as Ether, in short in ETH. Okay, so this is the second most traded cryptocurrency in the world. So there are multiple cryptocurrencies, different cryptocurrencies that are available, but Bitcoin, since it was the first cryptocurrency that was developed, let's say, in the world, so that's why that garners the maximum value. And this Bitcoin actually operates on they operate on a platform, right? They operate on a platform, and just the name is slipping from my mind. So on that platform, blockchain. Okay, so they work on blockchain technology. So after this, let's say, after this, it has led to, let's say, development of the blockchain technology for other purposes. Okay, so this thing operates on blockchain technology. Okay, blockchain technology. So blockchain is a cryptographic system which uses distributed ledger system. Distributed means, the ledger, the details are distributed across different internets, right? So it is a ledger system. So all the transactions that are entered into the cryptocurrency, entered into the bitcoins, right, in the blockchain, they cannot be altered, right? So they are immutable records. They cannot be altered, they cannot be deleted. So all the transactions, let's say that happen, it gets recorded into the platform. Okay, so this is the thing. So this is related to the cryptocurrency, the first topic. So with this, let us now quickly move to the second topic. We are going to understand this topic also. So what is this topic all about? So it says, France's exceptional women, their imprint on diplomacy. So basically in this article we are going to talk about an exceptional woman from France who has played a key role, a very important role for feminist movement in France. And why we are talking about France at this point of time? Because France became the first country in the world to include, let's say, right to abortion in their constitution itself. So what has happened? The freedom of women to voluntarily terminate pregnancy has been included into the constitution of the France. Okay, so it has been added into the France constitution. It means that now France has given constitutional recognition to this right, which is freedom of women to voluntarily terminate a pregnancy. So termination of pregnancy has been included as a, let's say, constitutional right in France. So this marks a key shift into the women's right movement. But now, let's say, if we talk about history of this particular thing, so history ranges back to long period of time, which is in 1949. There was a French feminist icon. Her name was Simone de Beauvoir, and she published a book which is known as The Second Sex. So we are going to understand about this book. We are going to understand a lot of things related to this article. Okay, so let me quickly write down the name of the article, then I'm going to write down the most important aspects related to this article. All right, so this is, name of the topic is France's exceptional women, or France's exceptional women. Their imprint on diplomacy. blueprint on diplomacy. Okay. So basically in this article we are talking about France, and this article has been written one ambassador, the ambassador of France to India. So that ambassador has talked about that on March 4, 2024, what has happened basically, let's say in the French constitution, right? So France, in the French constitution, in the French constitution, they have included right to terminate pregnancy. Okay, right to terminate pregnancy of women. Means they have made it a constitutional right. But before this, 49 years before this, they have made a legal right. They have made right to terminate pregnancy a legal right. And why it was done? Because there was a woman in France, and her name is, let's say like here in this article they have mentioned her name also, Simone de Beauvoir. Okay, so there was a woman, her name is Simone de Beauvoir. So she has written a book, and this book is known as The Second Sex. Okay, it is known as The Second Sex. So this was let's say like this has gained huge popularity, because in this book basically they have made groundbreaking remarks. Okay, so in this book they have mentioned that if a woman is to take charge of her biological destiny, if she has to give life on her terms, then she needs, in addition to contraception, a free, safe and legal abortion service available to her. Okay, so here in this book, basically in this book, she has laid down the foundation of pro-choice. Pro-choice means the right of the women to take a decision whether she wants to abort the child or not. Okay, so this is here she mentioned that one is not born but rather becomes a woman. Okay, so like it is a controversial remark that they have mentioned. Okay, so here what they have mentioned is basically after this they have published another book, and that book talks about, let's say, the manifesto of the 343. Okay, there is another book which is very famous, which is known as Manifesto of 343. What do we mean by this Manifesto of 343? It is a book. In this book basically some of the most influential women, some of the most, let's say, renowned women in France, they have confessed that they have done an abortion illegally in France. Why? Because legal channels do not allow them, to go for termination of pregnancies. And in this manifesto they have mentioned, and they have also mentioned why they have done it so illegally. And they have mentioned, let's say, a very important line. It says 1 million women in France have abortion every year. Condemned to secrecy, they do so in dangerous conditions. While under medical supervision, this is one of the simplest procedures. Society is silencing these millions of women. I declare that I am one of them. I declare that I have had an abortion. Just as we demand free access to contraception, we demand freedom to have an abortion. Okay, so this is what they have mentioned in the beginning lines of Manifesto of 343. And after this, the French government actually, they have legalized abortion in that country. And after 49 years of that, right, they have made it a constitutional right. So this is a very significant step that France has taken, and let's say it also opens up the way for other countries that also advocate for the rights of the women, that advocate pro-choice kind of thing. In India also, abortion is legal. I mean, women can do abortion, but the thing is they have to do it under strict medical supervision. Okay, so there are procedures that are mentioned under the let's say we do have a MTP Act, which is known as Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act in India. So in this article, finally this particular French person, the ambassador of France to India, what he says that this serves as a manifesto for the entire world and also in India, Because in India also we let's say like recognize the pro-choice thing. However, it is done under strict legal conditions. Okay, but there are many countries across the world that do not allow abortion to happen. Why? Because the thing is like they have some conservative approach, because like they want to protect the life. Okay, so that's a kind of protectionist thing. But here in this article they have mentioned about what France has done. Okay, if you read this article, you will get to know about, let's say, another social magazine in France. Okay, so here they have mentioned another social magazine which is known as Le Nouvel Observer. It starts here, they have mentioned 1 million women related thing. Okay, and here they have mentioned about another let's say Nobel Prize winner for literature, Annie Ernaux. She has mentioned in her L'Événement, where she narrates the story of her illegal abortion back in 1963. So there was a Nobel Prize winner. Nobel Prize winner for literature. There was a lady, and she has also written let's say like book. In that book she has explained that she herself has gone for illegal abortion back in 1963 in France. Okay, so this is the thing. So this article is good, right? You can go through this article, you can utilize this information to write a mains related question that asks about abortion. And this topic becomes very significant because this year itself the Supreme Court of India has taken decision related to a plea. I mean like where there was a woman who sought abortion and she was admitted in All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Delhi. But that has not been granted. Why? Because there were multiple other aspects also, because fetus have been formed in that case. Okay, so there were two judges initially, they had a differing opinion that led to, let's say like review by another judge. So that case is also related to abortion. Okay, so that's why it is important. Now with this we will move to another article. This article is also very important. It says electoral bonds, the state bank and the art of evasion. This is a very significant article. Okay, a very significant article because this topic is a burning issue, right, which is being debated across the country. And here we are going to understand about this topic, right? So this is let me write down the name of the topic, then we are going to be quick in covering this topic. Electoral bonds, the state bank and the art of evasion. The state bank and the art of evasion. Okay, so let's discuss about this. So basically here we are going to discuss about electoral bonds. Alright, so what are electoral bonds, or what were electoral bonds? Basically electoral bonds were instruments to donate to political parties. So any Indian person, right, whether it is a natural person or a legal person. What do we mean by legal person? Legal person means a company, right, an incorporated company in India. So any natural person or legal person can donate to political parties, right, and they can donate without getting their name to be published or known by anyone else. So they were given some protection under the electoral bonds. Okay, so initially it was launched in the year of 2018 by the Union government. Why? Because they want to make the process of donation to electoral parties a kind of systematic process, a kind of, let's say, transparent process. Whether it will the donation to electoral parties let's say will happen, donation to political parties will happen through banking channels. And here the State Bank of India was made the nodal bank or nodal authority to issue electoral bonds, right? So the various branches were designated on which electoral bonds were sold. So a person can purchase an electoral bond worth rupees 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh, 1 crore, up to 1 crore also. Okay, so but what has happened, like many political parties have received donation through the mechanism of electoral bonds, but later on people have filed cases in the Supreme Court of India citing that these electoral bonds are actually meddling with the rights of rights of freedom to exercise, let's say, like, the will of the people. Why? Because like some political parties had undue advantage. They could get huge amount of let's say like donation, and then they could win the elections. But let's say like, information was not available to the voters. So like Supreme Court of India, what it has done, Supreme Court of India has declared it unconstitutional. What? It has declared it as unconstitutional. What? Electoral bonds. Recently in the month of February, on 15th of February, Supreme Court of India, 15th of February 2024, Supreme Court of India has taken a decision, and there it has held it unconstitutional because it, let's say like, infringes upon the right of information of the people under Article 19 of the Constitution of India. And also the right to information was carved. I mean, like, we do have the RTI Act, Right to Information Act 2005, right? So like under that also people could not get the information of the donors who were donating to the political parties, right? So after this, what Supreme Court of India said, Supreme Court of India has issued two directions to the State Bank of India. In one of the direction, the Supreme Court of India said that details of the electoral bonds purchased since April 12, 2019, which would include the date of the purchase of each electoral bond, the name of the purchaser of the bond, and the denomination of the electoral bonds purchased, must be, let's say like, must be shared. So Supreme Court of India has directed the State Bank of India, right, to do two things, number one and number two. And so in these two things, basically it has said that like you, let's say, club these data, and after clubbing this data, you need to share this data with the Election Commission of India. And then the Supreme Court of India has directed the Election Commission of India that once they receive this information, they need to make it public through their website. Okay, they need to make it publicly available to the people. But let's say in the first order, the Supreme Court of India has said that the details of electoral bonds purchased since April 12, 2019, which will include the date of the purchase of electoral bonds, the name of the purchaser of the electoral bonds, and the denomination of electoral bonds purchased. Okay, so in one of the thing. In the second thing, the Supreme Court of India said that the details of electoral bonds redeemed by political parties for the same time period. Okay, so first one was related to the donors. Donors means those people who made donation. Second was related to political parties. Okay, political parties who have received the donation. So these details must be made available to the Election Commission of India by certain date. Okay, so it has given this timeline to be 6th of March, right? 6th of March to the SBI, and it has given timeline of 11th of March to the Election Commission of India to make it public. However, 2 days before the deadline, as State Bank of India approached the Supreme Court of India, and after approaching, what it has said that like it includes huge amount of data. What they have done is they have maintained some data digitally, some data physically. I mean, like KYC related data they have maintained physically, and other transaction related data they have mentioned electronically or digitally. And so this has happened from across the banking, let's say, from across the banking channel or banking system. So for them to club such an enormous amount of data would take more time. So they have demanded time till 10th of June, right after the general election of this year. But in this article, the authors have done diagnosis of the affidavit that was filed by the State Bank of India. So authors say over here that like in India, we have more than 50 crore customers who are part of the State Bank of India. Means State Bank of India serves to 50 crore customers. Apart from this, in the affidavit, they have mentioned that like, these physical copies after let's say people have purchased it, these were sent to the main branch of the State Bank of India, which is located in Mumbai. So from across different branches, wherever these electoral bonds were purchased, from these branches, basically the data has been, physical copy has been transferred to the to the main branch, which is in Mumbai. Apart from this, all the digital transaction related thing is also available to the main branch of Mumbai. A bank that serves 50 crore people, for it to validate the details of 22,217 electoral bonds. How many electoral bonds have been issued so far? It is 22,217 electoral bonds. Okay, 22,217 electoral bonds. To verify this much data should not take that much time. This is what the author is saying, that a bank that has the capacity of serving 50 crore Indians, can it not compile the data of 22,000 electoral bonds within the time period that I think around 21 days time period was given by the Supreme Court of India by the to the State Bank of India to compile this data. So author is saying that electoral bonds, the State Bank and the art of evasion. So the State Bank of India is trying to evade the responsibility, the onus, the directions that were given by the Supreme Court of India in this article. Okay, so this is what the author says. So author says that the voter needs to know the sources of financial contributions to political parties as well before she cast her vote in the general election. Okay, this is the thing. And also in this article they say a very important thing, and this important thing is that, like, most of the electoral bonds that were issued, they were of the denomination of 1 crore. It means that corporations or companies have donated to the political parties. If companies donate to political parties, what is their, let's say, viewpoint? Basically, they think of some kind of quid pro quo situation. What? This is known as quid pro quo. What do we mean by this? It means give and take relationship. If let's say corporations or companies are donating to political parties huge amount of money, so they are also expecting something in return, that once the political party comes to power, that political party will let's say return the favor that has been extended in terms of money. Means they are going to bring some policy measures that's going to help the corporations. Okay, so Supreme Court of India has, let's say, nabbed the State Bank of India. It has said that it should do it, and a contempt order has also been issued over here, okay, against the let's say, like, chairperson or head of the State Bank of India in this case. Okay, so with this, now let us move to another article. It says not law, not duty. What do we mean by this? Basically, we know Russia-Ukraine war is happening, right? Ukrainian people are being supported by huge number of people from Western countries. What about Russia? Like, Russia is also employing huge number of people from across the world to fight for Russian army. And what has happened recently, it was reported that dozens of Indians have participated in Russian army to fight against Ukrainian. And so in this article they say that, like, not like Indian laws do not permit it, and also it is not a duty of Indian people to fight for Russia, right? In Russia-Ukraine war that's happening outside India, right? So this is the thing. So here Ministry of External Affairs basically has released a notification earlier that all those people who are lured, all those people who are getting any kind of advertisement, they should not act upon it. Means, like, they should not participate in any war, let's say, outside India. Means, like, any war where Russia is involved or Ukraine is involved. This is the thing. So in this article they say that Ministry of External Affairs have released notification, and there are let's say, like, CBI is also doing raids. Okay, Central Bureau of Investigation is also doing raids, and they have identified at least 35 people, right, who are involved in human trafficking, right, who are involved in human trafficking to lure people to join the Russian army. Now we have two short articles. This is one of the short articles. It says report turns spotlight on India's zero food children. What do we mean by zero food children? Basically, these are those children that have not eaten food in the last 24 hours. Okay, so any children who like zero food children are aged between 6 months to 23 months in Uttar Pradesh. I mean, like, there are those children who have not eaten anything in last 24 hours. They are considered to be zero food children. In this article, they have given a story of a woman, Sunita Gautam. She is also afraid that she will not be able to feed her children, young children, right? And so, like, here there was a peer-reviewed article. So it was recently published in JAMA Network Open, right? JAMA Network Open journal. It found that the prevalence of zero food children in India at 19.3% in the world. I mean, like in the world, whatever is the total number of zero food children, around 19.3% are from India. So this raises alarming concerns that huge number of Indian children are not able to have their food. They are not being fed. Why? Because of deficiency in the availability, right, of nutritional content for them. Then this is the article that's related to environment and ecology. Here we are going to talk about golden langur and golden langurs. So there are, let's say like golden langurs are found in the northeast India in the state of Assam. And in this article they have mentioned the scientific name of golden langur. This is known as Trachypithecus gay. Okay, this is the scientific name. And golden langur are considered to be endangered animal. So basically there are many organizations that were involved in doing the survey, in doing the census of golden langur. So one of the organization is Primate Research Center, NE India, Northeast India, Assam, Forest Department, Bodoland Territorial Council, Salim Ali Center for Ornithology and Natural History, and the Conservation Himalayas. So these were the organizations that were involved in doing the survey of the golden langur. They have identified that 7,396 golden langurs are there in India. Okay, this is the thing. Here in this article, they have mentioned the regions where golden langurs are found. Where are they found? So they are primarily found in Manas Biosphere Reserve, which is located in Assam, and all those forest regions that are fragments of the Manas, let's say, Biosphere Reserve. That also includes the one of the biosphere reserve that we have discussed in the mapping section today, right? So in your free time, you need to go through this article, right? Learn about golden langur, find out their IUCN status, and then you will be prepared for the prelims exam from this area. Okay, so this area will be prepared. So with this, we have another article, short. Why did the European Union impose $1.8 billion fine on Apple? So basically, if we talk about Apple, it's one of the largest technical companies in the world, and Apple maintains, let's say, its app store, and in the app store, all the apps that are listed in Apple. So if, let's say, customers are paying to them, in that case they have to pay a platform charge of around 30% to the Apple. So recently there was a company, it's a music company, its name is Spotify. What is the name of the company? Its name is Spotify. What Spotify has done basically? So Spotify has found out an alternative route so that its customers can directly pay to Spotify, so that it can avoid the charges that are being levied by the by Apple. So in that case, what Apple has done, Apple had delisted Spotify from its platform. After then, Spotify basically has filed a case in the European Union, and then European Union has found that Apple is involved in let's say, like, in anti-competitive practices. So in European Union, antitrust laws have been imposed on Apple, and then they have imposed a fine of 1.8 billion euro, which is, let's say, like, much higher than 1.8 in terms of US dollars. Okay, so what has happened basically after so what is the name of the commission? It is known as Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, right? So the regulator found Apple to have violated Article 122 of the TEFU and Article 54 of the European Economic Area Agreement. Okay, so this body, Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union, they have this regulator. There is a regulator in European Union. That regulator has found that, like, the Apple's activity has violated this Article 102 and Article 54 of the European Economic Area Agreement. So that's why they have applied huge amount of fines. After this, Apple has also come up with some clarification on its website. Okay, they have said that, like, this decision does not have proper facts or basis of it. So this is something that is happening. So this is related to let's say, misuse of dominant position by a particular player, right? So this is the thing. So that's all for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.